What does Gobeklitepe's Pillar 43 represent? It has been called a calendar, a prophecy, even a warning, but none of those explanations survive serious archaeological scrutiny, because they all project modern thinking onto a world that existed more than 11,000 years ago. And until that projection is removed, Pillar 43 cannot be understood at all. To understand what Pillar 43 represents, we must first abandon the assumption that it was designed to communicate information the way we expect messages to function today. Because Göbekli Tepe was built more than 11,000 years ago by hunter-gatherers who lived before farming, before writing, before permanent settlements, and even before pottery, which means the people who carved this pillar did not think in terms of dates, predictions, or symbolic abstraction, as we do now. Göbekli Tepe itself is not a city, a village, or even a temple in the later sense of the word. It is a deliberately constructed ritual center with no evidence of daily domestic life. And its massive T-shaped pillars are not decorative objects, but stylized human forms, with arms, hands, and belts indicating that these stones were meant to represent beings rather than symbols. Pillar 43, often called the vulture stone, contains a dense vertical arrangement of carved animals and figures, including birds, a scorpion, serpents, and a headless human form, and the layout is structured in a clear downward flow rather than scattered randomly, which immediately suggests sequence, descent, or transition, rather than simple illustration. Popular interpretations claim these animals correspond to constellations, or encode an astronomical date, yet there is no credible evidence that people of this era used a fixed zodiac system or tracked time through constellations in the way modern observers assume. And more importantly, nothing at Göbekli Tepe indicates a concern with calendars, agriculture cycles, or seasonal scheduling, making the calendar theory fundamentally incompatible with the site's purpose. Other explanations describe Pillar 43 as a prophecy or warning about future catastrophe, but this assumes a linear concept of time, where the past, present, and future are clearly separated, whereas early human societies understood time as cyclical and experiential, where events were remembered, reenacted, and ritually preserved rather than predicted. In this context, Pillar 43 is not communicating a message about what will happen, but preserving the memory of something that already happened, and the imagery supports this interpretation more convincingly than any astronomical model. The headless human figure is especially significant because across early cultures, headlessness is consistently associated with sudden death, loss of identity, violent disruption, and the collapse of social order, not with mythological storytelling. And when combined with predatory animals and scavenger birds, the pillar begins to resemble a structured memory of trauma rather than symbolic storytelling. These carvings are not individual symbols meant to be decoded separately, but elements of a collective narrative encoded visually, one that reflects a period when the world became unstable, survival patterns collapsed, and human communities were forced to reorganize their understanding of existence itself. Archaeologically, Göbekli Tepe appears immediately after a period of dramatic climatic instability at the end of the Ice Age, a time marked by abrupt environmental shifts and widespread ecological stress. And this timing strongly suggests that the site, and Pillar 43 in particular, emerged as a response to catastrophe rather than as an abstract cultural experiment. In this light, Pillar 43 represents not a warning from the past, but a memory of rupture, a moment when the natural order failed, and humans were compelled to preserve that experience through ritualized architecture, ensuring it would not be forgotten as generations passed. Göbekli Tepe was not built to predict the future or track the heavens, but to anchor shared memory at a time when memory itself became essential for survival. And Pillar 43 stands as evidence that long before writing or science, humans were already recording existential knowledge in stone. What Göbekli Tepe's Pillar 43 ultimately represents is the realization that the world can break, and that remembering how it broke together was the first step toward rebuilding meaning, society, and eventually civilization itself.